Orchid, a licensed clinical social worker, psychotherapist, acclaimed speaker, workshop leader, consultant, and motivational psycho-humorist. Oh, I'm also pioneering the field of psychologically humorous rap music, and of course calling it Shrink Rap Productions. I've also written a new book on leadership called The Art of Passion Power. And I've also authored such books as Practice Safe Stress, The 4 Faces of Anger, and Preserving Human Touch in a High-Tech World. Today, I'm introducing a new video series on stress and burnout, sort of identifying the smoke signals and providing combat strategies at the burnout battlefront. Now, this series is going to be based on my diverse experiences in such areas as stress resilience and anger management, communication skills and conflict resolution, leadership and team building, and D&I, diversity and inclusion. Over the years, I've worked with such clients as the U.S. Postal Service as a stress and violence prevention consultant. Believe me, I am battle-tested. Speaking of battles, I've also worked with the U.S. Army, leading leadership retreats with senior officers and senior sergeants on stress resilience, humor, and team building. Also with Embry-Riddle Aeronautics University, where we did training webinars and conferences on leadership and power. Also for national associations like SHRM, Society for Human Resources Management, Society for Diversity, Federally Employed Women, FEW, or the Federal Women's Program. I'm also the originator of Get Fit Programming, FIT. That's because my programs and interventions are always fun, interactive, and thought-provoking. Now, while we're going to have fun, it's not all fun and games. I can be tough. Remember this somewhat pompous State Department manager sort of challenging me in one of my stress programs and saying, "Well, what do you call it if you don't have any stress?" And I gave him my best Clint Eastwood look and said, "Denial." Now, I'm sure none of you are in denial, but as my mother would say, "Mark, I trust you, but I worry." And being a dutiful son, well, let's just explore how you are dealing with signs of stress overload or burnout warning smoke signals. Let's try my self-recognition 3B stress barometer game. It's pretty straightforward. How does your brain, your body, and your behavior let you know when you're under more stress than usual? Now, here are a couple of responses that often come up with workshop participants. For example, mood swings or racing. Your thoughts seem to be racing, but paradoxically, some people feel like their mind is in a fog or in like stuck in mud. What about irritation and irritability? Or, speaking of irritation, what about itching skin? Or you're just itching for that next smoke or drink. Or you can't put down that cell phone because you're itching to see that next text message. What about these 3 smoke signals? Let's talk about disturbed sleep. Aren't there some days I don't want to get out from under these covers for nothing? Yet, aren't there some people that know all the best buys on eBay or QVC home shopping channel at 3 in the morning? What about eating patterns? Let's show of hands. How many people, when you're feeling that anxious, gnawing gut feeling, eat a little bit more to sort of numb out? Yeah, a lot of us do that. What about the opposite? Are there any folks that actually lose their appetite when they're stressed or depressed? Yeah, a few. And of course we hate those people, don't we, really? And finally, muscle tension. What about the neck, the shoulders, the lower back? Oh, that's one of my favorites. Oh yeah, what about the jaw? You know, muscle tension, clenched, gritting your teeth, and that jaw pain. You know, that's called TMJ. But we know what TMJ really stands for, don't we? Too many jerks. Yeah, we know that one. Now, when talking about stress, we can't overlook the B word. But before we get to the B word, let's define stress. Basically, stress is a series of reactions within the mind and body that helps you respond to internal stimuli or external stimulation, such as a challenging situation. For example, how about when you're late to work and running for a train? Or when you're stuck in beltway traffic and are not moving anywhere? Unless when you finally get into work, now you got to deal with that stress carrier boss. You know the definition of a stress carrier. Someone who doesn't get ulcers, just gives them. In addition to the externals, you have, as I said, those internal sources of arousal. Gnawing stomach, pains, racing thoughts, intense dreams, poignant memories. Now, while these sound troublesome, basically this is everyday stuff. It's when the stress smoke signals start smoldering and they're recurring on an everyday or almost everyday basis. That's when normal or acute stress can turn to chronic or distress. And now you're starting to feel out of control, hypervigilant. You feel like you always have to be watching behind you. And if this keeps going on, this is where you begin to see the real mind-body stress symptoms and even mind-body illness. But let's not forget or overlook good stress. Now, what is good stress? Basically, this is a situation where, let's say you're dealing with a problem and you're feeling challenged, but you know what? Hey, I have some sense about this. I have some resources and skills. I can grapple with this. I think I can, kind of jump in and make something here. Now, doesn't mean you're not going to make a mistake, but you're not worried about it. You're not beating yourself up. You're into the learning curve experience. Ironically, it's almost as if the process is as enjoyable as the outcome. In fact, as an example, the only time I really get stressed as a speaker is if I'm feeling flat. I mean, really stressed. If I'm feeling flat, because then I know I won't be able to bring my best energy. But fortunately, then I start worrying, and it kind of is a self-correcting process. But sometimes I can fall over that performance edge. And now we're talking about that B word. Now, not the B word that rhymes with which, but the B word that rhymes with self-doubt. That's right, burnout. And part 2 will define burnout from both an individual and organizational perspective. Part 2 will also introduce a powerful self-assessment tool for really understanding where you are in the burnout stages. This is a tool that may have you feeling a little bit vulnerable, but also may motivate a little bit more honesty. Let me give you an example. When I was living in New Orleans, I was doing a workshop there, and I had just finished talking about the 4 stages of burnout. And we took a break, and this gentleman with a distinctive Louisiana accent came up to me, and he said, "Have you been traveling to North Louisiana?" And I sort of said, "No, why?" because you've been looking in my window. Obviously, this gentleman saw himself in the burnout stages. And really, what these stages can provide is a window for looking out and seeing how maybe other colleagues are grappling with burnout. Or it can be a window to examine whether your organization is really becoming a burnout-prone environment. Finally, it also can be that mirror for really more honest self-reflection. So this is Mark Gorkin, the Stress Doc. Until next time, just remember, practice safe stress.